were able to. Okay, thank you. In the first month of the new year, I'm pleased to announce, as a result of your hard work and you all taking heed, that Porterhouse, as an organization, closed more transactions in January than we have since we've been open, in any month. So you guys, and that not only was it more transactions, the dollar amount was more. So you guys closed, put it this way, we wrote a whole lot of payroll. It was a whole lot of payroll that we wrote in the first, and to the point where it's really something to celebrate. And so I just want to say kudos to all of you who have stoked your pipelines. And listen, now is the time to continue stoking your pipeline. Don't let the cold months slow you down. This is the time to get ready, get people ready for a kickoff in March. Get them ready for the spring rush that's coming. Start getting those listings, those people that you listed their homes and you show homes. Target those neighborhoods. I will postcard them to death. Let them know if you plan on listing your house, there's never been a better time. Let them know that the prices of houses went up 40%. What is it, Jasmine? What is it? Not 40%, 40,000.
12.8%.
12.8%, which amounts to almost $40,000 in many cases. So it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal time in our country and in our economy. And a lot of people even have likened it to 2007, which is when the economy collapsed. But the great thing about this surge is that there are so many restrictions and regulations in place to prevent that type of thing from happening, meaning that people are getting loans that they actually can't afford in the midst of the pandemic. So if they can afford it in the midst of the pandemic, just imagine when the economy opens back, they might be calling you and say, hey, I want to get rid of this little house and give me a bigger house. I can afford more now. Once they start. So now people are really getting into positions that they can actually manage, and it's recession proof and condition proof, because we've already been in the midst of the pandemic, and yet people have found the dollars in the budget to make it happen. So you guys continue with two things. I want you to become more aggressive in your marketing. It doesn't cost you a penny to go on to Constant Contact and to market. Some of your colleagues have created great marketing pieces. Use them. Copy, put your image picture, put your information in there, put your name in there, and send it off. Keep adding people and contacts to your list. Keep introducing yourself to new people. Keep passing out your business cards where you can. You know it's difficult, but it's possible. So difficult and impossibility are two different things. Difficult might take me a little while. The possible might take me a little while longer, but I'm going to do it. I want to do the impossible. And you guys are doing the impossible in the midst of everything, because you're receiving the information that you're sharing, and you're applying it, and your businesses are growing. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, reinvest in yourself when you get that big money. I was happy to order postcards. I'm happy to order whatever you need, but reinvest in yourself. Make sure that you're using the tools that we give you to market and brand yourself, because that's the way to go forward. All right. So I just wanted to say that piece. I wanted to say it's an exciting time, but let's keep the ball rolling. Let's make it bigger and bigger. And the last thing I want to say to you guys, think about this. We are very happy that we were able to bless our agent of the year with a nice reward. But if you think about just recruiting, if you get turned down on an offer, it's still an opportunity for you to ask the agent, are you receiving at least 80% of your commission at your current brokerage? I would like to invite you to talk to my broker at Porterhouse. You can still recruit that agent. If you get accepted for an offer, I want to work this transaction with you. And then when we close, I want to introduce you to my broker. If you do that 3 times, and Caramon was on it, if you do that 3 times, in addition to the $300 per person, which equals $900 that you want to get for those 3 people, you don't have to pay a monthly fee for the rest of the year. So that's another around about $1,200 added on to the $900. So you're going to get more than what the agent of the year got just from recruiting 3 people. But you got to start now. You got to start looking. So you sit in office. If they reject you, that's okay. Talk to them. Say, hey, I'm sorry we didn't get this offer, but let me ask you a quick question. I tried to recruit a broker who owned his own brokerage the other day. I do that quite often. Anybody I talk to, I'm going to ask them a question before I let you go. I appreciate you. I'll share that information with my client, but are you making at least 80% of your commission on this transaction? And you get the offers. You guys who've got offers, you look at Porterhouse offer and look at your Porterhouse commission and look at the commission of anybody else who we're on the altar with. They always 9 out of 10 pale in comparison, even if the person is on the listing side. Because we're going to teach you strategies to get more money for every transaction. Because once they close, guess what? They close. That's it. So I just wanted to encourage you guys. This is the business that you've been placed in. This is where God wants you to be, and we're going to give you everything that we know how to do. Don't be afraid to run your business like a business. That's all I wanted to say, Jasmine. It was all yours.
Well, thank you so very much for those words of wisdom, Mr. Porter. We appreciate you, definitely. And I second that. You guys did a phenomenal job this January, and everything that Mr. Porter said holds true in that when it starts to get cold outside, that's when you want to stoke your pipeline for January, February. You want to constantly be building your book of business. So we're going to continue in that conversation today about building your book of business for listings. We're going to go into how exactly to prospect for listings. There are a number of ways, so we won't be able to get through all of them today, but we're going to get through a number of ways. And we want for you guys to take ownership of this information that you're going to learn here today and apply it. Because if you apply it, then you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of your competitor. So take the information, call us, text us, come into the office, ask questions, whatever you need to do, but absolutely apply this and let's move forward. Okay, so give me just a second. I'll go ahead and share my screen with you. All right, so today we're talking about targeted marketing. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, there's quite a bit of very valuable information here, but we're not going to start at the beginning of this because I want to take you somewhere in particular, and then we'll come back through the rest of this information as the weeks progress. Okay, so today we're going to start talking about prospecting with listings using Remind. And for those of you that have had this training before, that's great. It'll be a refresher for you. For those that this is your first time, take notes. It's going to be recorded so you can go back and take a look at it several times, do whatever it is that you need to do, but absolutely take wholehearted advantage of this information that you're about to hear today. All right. So let me ask for those of us that are on the line, and Mr. Porter, if you would watch the waiting room to make sure that we're able to let everybody in. For those that are on the line, tell me what you know about Remind.
Well, the one thing I know is that it is a part of the HomeSnap Pro, right? Is it part of HomeSnap? I was just looking at that yesterday, just trying to find some general information. But I found that under HomeSnap, you do have to pay an additional fee to get it, right?
So Remind was a paid feature under Bright MLS. It was a paid feature. Now, however, it's free.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, okay. However, it's free to all Bright MLS subscribers.
Okay, good. I must have seen that at the training. Okay, yes, okay.
Anybody else have any ideas about Remind before we begin?
What I remember is that it'll let you know which ones are hot, like the properties that are hot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. You can tell properties that are likely to sell, they have a sales score. So a high to low sales score. Anybody else want to take a stab at it before we dive in?
One of the things I know you could use Remind for is also to get different phone numbers as well. It's good for that as well.
All right, we're going to take a dive into Remind today, and you guys, you will be absolutely happy with everything that you're going to see. And I want you guys to commit to applying this information because we're going through our one-on-ones for all of you, your business plans. And if you've had your one-on-one already, you know that we're talking about listings as it pertains to your goals, listings being a minimum of 60% of your prospecting interest or all of your client base for this year. And this is one of the surefire ways to get listings. Again, we're going to go through a series of different targeted marketing activities for you guys to do. So sit back, take notes, and let's begin. All right, so Bright MLS, this is how you access Remind. You go straight to Bright MLS, and no worries because next Thursday at the same time, we're having training on the new platform. So one of our partners, Steve from Bright MLS, he's going to be training all of our agents. So be sure to chime in next week for Realty Talks. You're having that training. So it's going to look a little bit different when you go into the platform, but you simply click on search. And from search, if you look right down at the bottom where you see HomeSnap Pro, you see Remind Pro, you click right there on Remind Pro, okay? And once you click on Remind Pro, it's gonna take you to a page where you'll see that little emblem right there. But let's take a look at this video really quickly so that it can give you an overview.
We can't hear it, Jasmine.
Okay. Okay, I might have to share that screen as well. Thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna stop and share that screen because I definitely want you to hear that. All right, let's start it again. Can you guys see that screen?
We can see.
Yes.
Perfect. Can you hear it?
No.
No, we can't hear it. I think it's because you're not muted, so I don't know if that's helping or not.
Okay. No worries. I have another alternative. There's always a way, so don't you worry. I'm gonna go ahead and get this over to you guys. How about now?
No.
Meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6. You have been added to the waiting room. You cannot talk or
Yeah, we still don't hear anything. So you have to walk us through it, Jasmine, because we can't hear anything. We can't hear you anymore either.
How about now?
Yeah, because you're echoing.
Okay. My apologies.
I think you have
All
to
right,
walk
well,
us through it.
I'm
It's
gonna
not,
skip
it's not, the
past that.
video's not playing. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm going to skip past that. No worries. We'll talk it through.
Are you talking, Jasmine?
My apologies. I don't know what happened with that video, but we're going to go ahead and move straight forward. I apologize. That video queued up well when I did it a couple times before we began, but no worries because we're going to go through it step by step. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Remind, as you can see, if you were looking at this at a glance or at a bird's eye view, this could be a whole maybe quarter of a mile radius. You see all those properties, you see various numbers. You can look at the MLS status to see what's active pending, so forth and so on. You also get to look at sales scores. You get to choose the list price, the sales price. You get to choose a minimum. You can look at the mortgage age on that. So as we move forward in the slide, you're going to see the various overlays that you can add. You can see it. You can view home equity. So within that same quarter mile radius, you get to look at the building type and simply add overlays so as to target the market that you're interested in. You see here, you can also look at the ownership time. So all of these are options for you that help you to choose the property that you're interested in pursuing, okay? So we're going to come out of that one and go back to this next screen. All right. So you went into Remind from Bright MLS, you clicked on Remind Pro, and what you're going to see there, you're going to see this option on the left that says daily, and you simply choose your overlays, you choose your search criteria, and then as you come back to this platform daily, it'll show you the updates with it. So for this particular instance, there was a save search, you save the search right there, and everything that updates with that or anywhere in that community, it'll send you a notification. So just for the sake of today's training, I chose Upper Marlboro, Maryland. So if you go into Remind and in that search bar up at the top, you type in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and you're going to start to see homes pop up on the map down there. Okay, now we're going to start to look at overlays because on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see overlays there. You'll see property value, you'll see home equity, ownership time, sales score, and that's what Darlene was mentioning. You can see how hot the home is in terms of how likely it is to sell. You can see whether or not it's an absentee owner. You can see quite a bit of other information there too. And you get to choose the ownership time. Okay, so let's think about it. If NAR says that the average homeowner is going to purchase and sell every 5 to 8 years, then you see why it would be a benefit to be able to lay an overlay to look at homeowners that just purchased or just sold this particular home in the last 5 to 10 years. Because if they've been there for 5 to 10 years, they're likely going to be ready to sell again. Whereas if they just moved in 0 to 5 years ago, it's a lot less likely. Okay. And then the more as you go down that list to look at ownership time, 10 to 15 years, 15 to 20 years, they're going to be more likely to want to sell as well. So that's how you use that particular overlay. So that's how you look at the area and you look at the ownership time there. And as you see, properties are going to come up on the left-hand side of the screen. There were 24 homes that were selected or 24 homes that populated based on Upper Marlboro, Maryland, homes that were just purchased within the last 5 to 10 years. Okay, now we can lay on more overlays. You see that we chose absentee in-state or absentee out-of-state. And this should be a very simple one. Can anybody tell me why it would behoove us to look at absentee owners?
You have renters in there? I mean, someone renting the property? Is that one of the things?
There are definitely renters there. And what happens when renters are in the house?
They could become possible home buyers.
Well, that's double fold. So I'm glad you said that because that's definitely another perspective. So you can market to the renters to become home buyers. On the other hand, however, you can market to the seller to sell their home because maybe they're tired of being a landlord. Maybe the renters have done a good job or maybe they haven't. But that affords you two opportunities in one because you can market to the renters because they've already grown accustomed to living in an actual home So now they kind of know what the lay of the land is in terms of home ownership from living in a home versus an apartment. But you market, you get them as a buyer, then you market to the seller or the homeowner themselves so that they can sell it. All right. So here's what that would look like with those two overlays. So remember, the overlay was ownership time and then absentee owner. So you see what those options are. And as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, everything that fits your search criteria is going to populate over there. All right. So I just clicked on the first one up at the top. I'll go back so you can see where we got it from. You see those overlays. You see kind of our plot right there. Now over on the right-hand side of the screen, the very first listing that we saw over there, 14507 Main Street, we simply clicked on that, and that's what's going to give us the information on the next screen. All right. So you can see a lot of information already. You see the estimated equity. So you see this property says 675,088, but right below it, you see an estimated equity of $632,446. It says low sales score, but it has a high equity. Let's take a look at what the next page says. All right. So here's more information. You see the assessed value of the property, the net equity in the property. You see so many different factors just by clicking on that listing and looking at everything that's available to you. You can also see active mortgage information. So if you look over on the right-hand side, down at the bottom, you see the original amount of the active mortgage, $75,000. Loan term, you see the rate, you see all of this information. Why is that information important?
That helps,
Go ahead.
helps you to determine how likely they would be to sell, or how much is left in, like what you might be able to determine how much is left in the loan. So if there's only like $50,000 left on their loan, then they may only need you to pay like $70,000 down, and then you can figure out the rest. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about investment, but it will help you figure out how how likely they are to list, and what we can talk to them about how much money they could actually make from listing their property, because they don't have that much left in equity and such.
That's certainly a way to look at it. There are a couple more pieces there. Does anybody else want to take a stab at it?
Does it help you determine what you're going to list the property for?
So this information will help you to determine. You're going to do a thorough market analysis, but this will give you a good idea of what, the value is, what the minimum is that the owner needs to get. And I'm not going to go too far down on that line because I want to see if you guys will think about what's next there.
And well, I'm thinking maybe not be a short sale, but that might not
That's
be
what
it.
I'm looking for. There it is.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
Because
So knowing knowing how much equity there is in the property tells you the sales type. You need to know that right offhand. That's one of the first questions that you're going to ask that seller. You're going to ask, how much do you owe on that loan? And you need to see the latest copy of their mortgage statement, because that's absolutely going to help you to determine whether or not it's a standard sale, it's a short sale, if they're several months behind, if they're about to go into foreclosure. That's information that you need to know in advance, so you know how to plan that transaction so that it works best for them. Okay, so seeing that their home is worth probably around $675,000 and they only owe $75,000 on it, is there any other conversation that we would have with them about the sale of their home? Mr. Porter, you use this conversation quite a bit in your buyer's consultations. So we talk to our buyers, we talk to our sellers about when they're selling a home. So if they are married, there's a certain amount that they get tax-free. And if they are single, it's a certain amount that they get tax-free. And these people, they've capped out. They've capped out. So that could be another point of conversation for them as well. And this is quite a different instance where they have over 93% equity. Most homeowners don't have as much, but that's a very real conversation that you want to have, so as to help encourage them that this is the right time, especially in the market that we're in. Like Mr. Porter mentioned earlier in the conversation, we have a market where people were able to actualize over 12.8% equity last year, just the growth added to what their equity already was. And we want as much equity as homeowners as possible. But the question becomes, if their goal is to stay in the house for a very long time, or to cash out when they've gotten the maximum amount of equity without having to pay, a large part of that to Uncle Sam. And there are allowances for that. So when you see this much equity in a home like that, it may be a good conversation to have. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, the first $500,000 worth of equity is tax-free. You don't pay your taxes on that. After that, you do start paying taxes. So those are conversations that you have with them as well. But knowing the sales type is going to be one of the most important factors that you'll determine from looking at this information right here.
Mhm.
Any questions about any of this before we move further? All right. So now,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. So you were saying, you were talking about the fact that it would be a place where they were capped. So what kinds of things would you advise them to do if they are going to be taxed on another $200,000 worth of, the equity they have in their home? What kind of advice would we give, or should we give?
So that's something for them to ask their CPA. We don't give that type of advice. What we do tell them is that the first $105,000, I'm sorry, did I say the first $500,000 worth of equity as a married couple is going to be a tax write-off. They don't have to pay taxes on that capital gains. If they're single, the first $250,000, they don't pay taxes on that capital gain. Mr. Porter, you have something you want to add?
What you do is like they did in Trading Places. Sell, Mortimer, sell. You tell them it's time to sell your house.
Yeah, sell to avoid paying those taxes there. There are other vehicles that they can use, but those aren't conversations we don't advise them in those ways. They come to us with it. Like if they wanted to talk about a 1031 tax exchange, that's an option that they have, and we have information on it for them, but they need to get that information from their financial advisor. Okay.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Porter. Thank you.
Yeah, but my only point I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to make to you guys is the point I'm always making. You are a realtor. You're in real estate. You're a real estate salesperson. You're looking for leads. You're looking to drum up business. The way you drum up business is say, hey, guys, you capped out on your house. It's time for you to sell and find you a new house. You're going to get a $500,000 check, tax-free. Don't you want to put your house on the market with me? Get that $500,000 check, put it in your bank account, and build you the house of your dreams. It's time to do it. That's my pitch. That's what I'm selling. I'm trying to get that listing. This is all I'm saying.
Well, that's a good pitch.
All that other stuff, that 1031, I ain't getting into all of that. I want you to sell your house. I'm a realtor. That's what I do.
All right.
Unapologetically, too. I don't even apologize for it. Sell your house.
Well, it's a benefit, because if you tell me I can save thousands and thousands of dollars on taxes if I sell now versus waiting another couple of years, I can use that money and invest it elsewhere. So it'll be a wise financial decision. So it's definitely information that we want to have and be able to dialogue with our sellers. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Just sell your house, ma'am. Let's put your house on the market. Here we go. Let's go.
Okay, let's get the house on the market. All right. So as it pertains to other overlays, you see right here where there says it's a sales score on the left, you see the little circle with the S in it. That's the one that you were talking about there, the sales score. So you see low, medium, and high. So those same parameters that we already had in Upper Marlboro, we chose the ownership time, we chose the equity amount. Now we've added another overlay in terms of sales score. We chose a median sales score. So now you're getting more honed in you're getting very, very focused and targeted in your marketing approach. So look over to the right-hand side of the screen. You're going to see now these are homes that have at least a median sales score. So medium, we could do high or low. So we're just going to click on the one at the top, and you see the information that's available to you there. As you can see, based on Remind, they pull information from Bright MLS. Again, of course, you're going to do your own thorough market analysis, but this is what Remind suggests is the property value of the home. Okay, and this is what they see as the estimated equity in the home, $82,189. Okay.
Wow.
So then we can do the same thing. You can choose an overlay that has a home equity that's a minimum. And right here, I chose a minimum of 150K so that you know they have wiggle room and they're going to be happy with their proceeds from the sale. So we simply add that as an overlay. Okay. And here's what our map looks like. So you can adjust these overlays in so many different ways depending on the market
Jasmine, we can't see your screen anymore.
You can't see my screen?
I don't.
I can see it.
I see it.
Oh well, it must be my phone. Okay. So
Okay. Got it. All right, so guys, tell me what you think about all these overlays and Remind.
Terrific.
What questions do you have thus far?
Hi, this is Margaret. Is this a tool to use for commercial properties too?
So it's going to be slightly different. I don't know if they offer it for commercial properties. I know for certain it's for residential. We'd have to
Okay.
look and see. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Do you guys see how this can take your broad targeting or your broad marketing into very specific laser-like targeted marketing?
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose of this, is to absolutely maximize your return on your investment of your marketing dollars, your time, your effort, and all of those things. Because it's a difference if I'm going to send out 500 mailers a month and I'm going to send them out to just a broad audience versus sending it out to people that I know, hey, they've been in their home for 5 to 10 years. They have at least $150,000 worth of equity. You know what I mean? They have at least a medium sales score. I'm much more likely to get a higher return on my investment in terms of building my pipeline with listings than rather just sending them out to everybody. A large majority of those people probably just bought their home within the last few years. Some of them could be underwater, some of them could have lower equity. So there's so many different factors that come to mind when marketing for listings. So the more targeted we can be in our approach, the better. All right, any questions about that before we move on?
Well, I do have a question, Jasmine. Once you get this information and you said we can use it for marketing, is there then a way to kind of get those property addresses so that you can farm it out to the different areas?
Absolutely. So when you say the property addresses, what do you mean?
Well,
'Cause-
a way to send the marketing material to those areas.
Absolutely. So what you want to do is you send us an email, you give us the property address, and you let us know which overlays you want to do, and we can absolutely send those out for you. Okay. So there are two ways. This system will do it for you as well. I don't know what their costs are. I know theirs are a little bit different. What we do includes everything. So it's going to include your design. It's going to include your mailers, the postage, and all that good stuff. And it simply goes out. Whereas in the system, if you walk through it yourself, let's go back. Hold on, let me see which page it's on. So if you see right here where it says add to cart in the system. So there are features and options. You'll see add to cart, you'll see share, you'll see print, and you'll see do a CMA. This system will allow you to add it to your cart so you can pay for a mailer to go from the system directly to those homes. Okay. You can also share this link. You can print it So you can print it to a CSV file or, Excel file or something like that. So if you wanted to handwrite something yourself or follow up with those owners, you can do that also. And one of the easiest things that the system does is that CMA, because you don't have to do much of anything at all for this system to generate a CMA for you. So any home that you're going to market to in this system, I would suggest, at least for the community, do a CMA that you already have on hand, so you know what those values around there are going to look like. But this is a very quick way to do it. Okay, so with us, you can email info@porterhouserealtypros.com, put the property address on there, okay? And let us know. You might say, okay, I want 200 homes in the area or 500 homes that the homeowner has lived there for at least 5 to 10 years, have at least $100,000 in equity, or whatever those parameters are that you want to set. You can send those directly over to us too.
Okay.
Okay.
Mrs.
And
Porter,
by the
this is
way,
Craig. Hello.
Hey,
hey,
Craig, how are
Craig,
you? Welcome back.
Good. Thank you so much. Happy birthday.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Craig. I'm so sorry. We worked through that whole birthday snafu. That's my Facebook birthday. You guys have my sincerest apologies. It is my birthday
Oh,
month, however. It's my birthday
oh,
month.
it's all month. But I was gonna say, with the Remind Pro, I'm used to using HomeSnap. I definitely didn't realize Remind had so many like pieces and moving parts. But I'm definitely understanding how it can help us with our marketing. So I appreciate the information, as always.
You are very, very welcome. And I'm happy you were able to join us today. You
Yep.
guys take this information, take it, I tell you, and do exactly what we're talking about. Market to these properties. I want you to set your own parameters, and that's going to look different. Each of you might have a different city, a different zip code, a different, targeted audience, whatever that looks like for you. I want you to go into Remind, and I want you to do searches and save them, so that when you go back to the front page where you see your daily, it's going to look like, you come, you have your cup of coffee in the morning, and you just open it up and look to see what has populated for that day. And then you just send out your marketing to those properties. This is how I want you guys to go ahead, have a market watch. Go ahead, Mr. Porter.
no, I was going to say before we go further, I just wanted to encourage you guys that, make sure that you're pulling your postcards, even no matter how you're doing it. If you're doing it for Remind, if you're doing it yourself, you want to do postcards. And I just wanted to ask, I know that we just placed an order yesterday for both, I think, Margaret and Aurelia, and I just wanted to ask them to get their comments on how easy or difficult it was to place postcard orders through info@porterhouserealtypros. You guys
very. It was very.
Was it,
It's simple. It was very simple. Just describing exactly what you want, and then you sent me a preview of what it would look like, and then I was able to approve it, and it was just that simple. And I can pay online too, so that was really good.
I agree with Aurelia. It's really quick. Something as simple as an email, you get a response, and then you get a proof.
And what happens if you don't like your proof and you want to add something, Margaret?
You change it. You ask them, you send it, respond, and say, hey, can you add this to the flyer?
And the great thing, guys, I want you to know is that I think you guys just approved your postcards last night, but guess what? They're in the mail today. They're going out in the mail today.
All right.
So every Thursday, postcards go out. We do work with a distributor. He's all the way out in California, so there's a time difference. But he is excellent. He always delivers on that. Get a copy in the office. And you guys, we like to leave those copies in the office. I see some people try to snatch theirs, and that's okay. If you want to take yours, we understand. But we leave copies in the office on the little table in the room so that others can see the different types of postcards. These are not small postcards. These are huge postcards. So I think they're 3x5s. So they have a nice feel to them when people pick them out of the mailbox. And like I say to everybody, if you get one, just imagine if you get one person to call you and you get an $8,000 commission, $7,000 commission off of $160 worth of postcards, it's worth it to me. But you can't do it one time. it has to be done consistently. You have to farm that market. You got to plant those seeds and water them and wait and plant them some more. So that's what you do. You got to farm your market. Don't think it's a one and done. Aurelia has some beautiful postcards for that $600,000 listing that she just had. If I was her, I would do that every other week. I'd be farming different people. I would be doing more than 200. I'd be doing 500 because that's a $600,000 commission, a commission on a $600,000 property. So that's what you guys need to think about. Where do you want to farm? Where do you want to invest your money? And become the agent of that community, the one that they see consistently, time and time again. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, and I guess at some point I have another question. Once I receive those postcards, I just need to go. Can I go and remind to find out which farming areas I want to send that to? Of course, I would use the development or the community that the house was sold out of. But what other options do I have to send those cards out?
So when you order through,
go ahead, Jeff. You want to explain?
it's okay. When you order through Porterhouse, all of that's done for you. So you don't have to do anything else. You send your email, you approve it, it's done. So it's automatically going to go out. So it's not like one of the companies where you order the postcards, then they send it to you, and now you've got to worry about getting it out and postage and mailing and all that kind of stuff. Every single thing that pertains to the process is handled for you. So you don't have to worry about anything.
Okay, and where are those cards going out to?
You can get a list. So you can get a list of where the cards were sent to.
Well, let me say this, Jasmine. Yes, we can get a list, but they are sent to 200 homeowners around the address that you are farming to.
Excellent.
Now, what Jasmine is talking about, sometimes people say, well, I don't know if those postcards really went out, and they want a list. We can actually get the list that they mailed them to for you, but they will go out to the 200 homes immediately around your farming area. And then what happens, if you want to go further, they can send it out to a list that's further out and further out. So if you look at it, it starts out within the immediate radius and it goes out further.
Okay, is that a request that we have to make?
No, you can, like I said, you can order more postcards anytime, and you can say on your second order, I want to go. I don't want to hit the same houses that I did on the first order. I want to go 200 additional houses.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is
or you can hit the same
good
houses. Or you can hit the same houses over and over again, which is what I recommend. Because then people will get your information over and over. They start saying, this lady always send me something. Let me call her and see what this is about.
Excellent. Wonderful.
So that's where we go. That's where we're going next. And I'm so glad that you ended your comment like that, Mr. Porter. He talked about this being a farm, and with this is targeted marketing. These are farm areas. So each one of our agents, you need to choose a farm area, preferably the area that you are gonna, frequent, or the area that you live in. Either of those are fine. Whatever you want to be your farm area, that is your choice. You just want to commit to it. And just like you hear us say over and over and over again at Porterhouse, it's seed time and harvest. If you look at this like a farm, you know how farmers, they have rows and rows that they till and then drop seed in, and so forth and so on. So if you looked at all of these like rows and your postcards, they're seeding it. You're constantly seeding your farm area. And when you do it over and over again, because you're then nurturing your farm area, then that's when you're going to start to see your harvest grow, meaning you're going to start to see listings as a result. You're going to start to get those telephone calls. You're going to get that recognition and notoriety in your farm area because you were diligent and persistent to target and farm that area. Okay, so we're going to talk as we go to the next couple of slides about what that looks like to seed your farm area effectively. Okay, I'm gonna stop this really quickly because I have a lot of great information in here for you guys, but I'm not gonna go through all of that today. So give me just a second, because where we're going. And if you guys see a sneak preview over to the left, then that'll make you even more excited for the upcoming trainings, because we're going through all of this information, just not all today.
Right. Excellent.
I'll start here really quickly because I want you guys to pay attention. So in your geographic farm, you want to look at the area, choose an area. In the area, you need to have a zip code. For the zip codes, you need to know which subdivisions are in those zip codes. Okay, so when you say, okay, well, my zip code is 20772, all right. Your area is Upper Marlboro, your zip code is 20772. What subdivisions are in those zip codes? Pay attention to that because that's going to be your farm area. Okay. So then you're going to go to Bright, you're going to look up residential sale information, and you're going to become familiar with that farm area. Okay. So if you wanted to simply go out by 5 miles, I had simply put in the office address right there. If you wanted to go out by 5 miles and you wanted to search properties that were $400,000 or more that sold between, 2012 and 2015, that way you know that their property sold, 6 to 9 years ago. These are homeowners that are likely going to need to sell their home again. So this is one of the ways that you target your farm area. Okay. So then we're going to take a look at also, let me move this around for you. You can choose the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, so you don't have to necessarily take everything that's within the farm area, but you're going to be very targeted in your approach. So as you're going through that search type, you're going to say, okay, well, as you saw on the last page, this is everything that's $400,000 or more with 4 bedrooms, at least 2 and 1/2 bathroom, fee simple with a 2-car garage in the basement. And that's what your target market is. Okay. So then it'll pull up everything for you within that area. Somebody mute yourself. I'm getting some feedback.
Yeah, guys, you gotta all mute yourself.
Excuse me, guys, we're getting some feedback there. Okay, here we go. All right, so we can see all of the information that we're putting in, and I want you guys to feel free to make sure that you are being as targeted as possible in your approach, because as we talk about your marketing pieces and your postcards and seeding and repetition and all those things, you want to make sure that this is absolutely the audience that you want to be receiving your information. Okay, so here's another piece of information that you can put in where you see additional fields down at the bottom. You can add close date. So to close date, you can have it to say, okay, everything from 2014 and put a date range in there. Okay, between 2014 and 2015, you could put whatever that date range is, that's 5 to 8 years ago, so that you know that those people are likely going to need to sell. All right. We're not going to go through pre-foreclosure today, so I'm going to scroll down to another of the slides. Hopefully that'll just whet your guys' appetites, but here is where I'm going to go for now. Okay, so Mr. Porter talked about farming the same homes. The goal, as we said, with a farmer, they're going to continue to seed, they're going to continue to water, and you and I are going to do the exact same thing in order to build your pipeline for your listings there. So as you can see here, you're going to have a 2-4-6 marketing system. So for the first 2 weeks, it says letter, but you can simply send out a postcard. So 1 postcard, and this is going to be very aggressive. So let me say, I want to preface this before I begin. If you are just starting out and you want to become the dominant realtor in that market, then this will get you there. If your goal is just to slow walk it and to slowly familiarize yourself and get kind of trickles of phone calls, that works. It takes a lot longer in terms of time. But if you guys, you've had some settlements and you say, okay, I've gotten my commission and I'm ready to reinvest a portion of it into building my pipeline for the spring, summer, and fall market this year to ensure that I have constant listing prospects coming up. If that's you, if you fit in that category, then I'm going to continue to talk about what this marketing system looks like. Okay, it's going to be very aggressive, because when you're trying to become known in a market that you weren't known in previously, you're going to need to do what's called a blitz. meaning you're going to have to send multiple mailers in the beginning so that they can become familiar with your face. Research shows that people need to see you 6 to 9 times before they're willing to, believe you, take you seriously as a professional, and start to trust the information that you're giving to them. So instead of just doing it once a month and having that 6-month time period where people are warming up to you, this is going to aggressively market you for the first few weeks as effectively as it would over 6 months. All right. So in this marketing system, 246, you're going to send out a postcard, some type of mailer, some type of letter every 3 days for the first 2 weeks. Okay. After that, 1 mailer a week for the next 4 weeks. Okay. That's your blitz. After that, now you can have your monthly follow-up where you're doing 1 postcard every month. And this is not for the faint of heart. This is for people that say, okay, it's January 2021. By the time December 2021 gets here, I want to absolutely dominate in my farm area. This is how you're going to get there. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we talked about thus far?
I do. Are we sending the same material or can it
You're
be?
not sending the same material. I'm so happy you
Okay,
asked.
gotcha. Okay.
So
So
glad you asked.
the question I had, because I had that same question, I was wondering when you were talking about farm area and like the postcards that I'm sending out now, who determines, or how do we determine, what choices do we have to send out the different material? Do you all make that determination, or do we go somewhere where we look at different things and say, well, now you can send this out, or how does that work?
So your options are nearly unlimited. You simply let us know. So you would send us an email. So let's just talk about that really quickly. And we have 3 more minutes. I'm going to open up for questions and then we're going to pick this up again. Okay. But as it pertains to your just sold, that's going to look a little bit different, because if you're marketing your just sold, you don't necessarily want to change that marketing type. If you're saying, okay, well, just sold, you might have 30 listings for that photo. Okay. Now, 1 week or one of your mailers is going to have maybe the front of the house and 3 pictures. The next week it's the same house, but they're 3 different pictures. The next week it can be the same house, 3 different pictures, so that you can fully take advantage of and exploit every opportunity to market that just sold. So for the people that are in that demographic, in that area, what they're going to see is, oh my gosh, I just got, 4 just sold from Aurelia. She's on fire. You know what I mean? That is absolutely everything that you'll need for that first 2 weeks. You're sending out those just sold for that blitz. After that, 1 every week for the next few weeks. You simply transition, whatever that sales type was. I know that several of our agents have had listings to sell over asking price in short amount of times. So then your next mailer would be something to the effect of sold within 40 days for $20,000 over asking price. Or so, give me a call if you're thinking about selling. The next one will be the market is on fire. Do you know what your home is worth? Give me a call today for a free estimate of your home's value. The next one will be, we have plenty of buyers looking to move into your community. Give me a call today if you're thinking about selling. So the options are unlimited in terms of what you can choose from. You simply let us know what you're interested in doing, and we can talk and we can share some of those ideas with you guys for those postcards, because the company we work with, they do it all. You simply choose what options you want to pursue, whether it's like along the just sold, your kind of prospecting in general, market analysis, how the market's doing, just listed, what your home's worth, is your home underwater? So there's so many different topics there to choose from. So you make the selection, you send the photos, and everything else is done.
That's great. That's great information, guys. But here's what I want to make sure that we caution you as well, because what we don't want you to do is try to make your design so different every time that people don't recognize that it's you. So branding is very, very important. You want to have the very same logo. You want to have the same picture. You want to, a picture of yourself, you don't want to keep changing your hair and changing your picture all the time, because people won't recognize it as the same person marketing to them over and over again. If you say that you got a bus ad in that community, and you put the picture of yourself on the bus, but you look different in every picture, they won't recognize that it's you. People won't recognize it's you. And so it's almost like you're starting over. So you want to be careful in your marketing, not to continuously rebrand yourself by making things so different that it doesn't look like or have the same feel and that they know it's you over and over and over again. The whole idea is to get yourself in front of people so many times in so many different ways, but every time they know it's you. And so that's really important to make sure your brand recognition is there. No matter where you go in the world, you see that big yellow M, you know there's a McDonald's close by. So whenever people see your photo, it should be the same photo. It should be the same feel to your thing, your marketing. You don't want it to be so abstract that it starts to take away from who you are and what you're saying. That's all I wanted to say. Be careful of that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for saying that. And it's really important that we say that, because you guys have the option as to whether or not you go through Info or Porterhouse Realty Pros, or you choose one of the other marketing avenues at your choice. We do recommend you going through Porterhouse, because then all of the branding and the marketing is the same. Then it will be consistent. It's sent out and everything is done for you. If you want to venture to try to do this on your own and create the postcards, please be sure to do exactly what Mr. Porter said. And if you do create the postcards outside of Porterhouse, send it over to us as well for approval, because that brand recognition is very important. And we want to make sure that all of, even the board's regulations and per the brokerage and all of those things, there's certain things that we've got to ensure that are on your marketing every time, so that we're not open up for fines and things of that nature, in addition to the brand recognition. So it's easiest through the brokerage because all of that's done, but you do have the ability to go outside as well, but just run it past us. Okay, so that we can direct you however is needed.
It's so important, guys. I mean, even to your business cards. The reason why we brand your business cards, and you would be surprised at how many times people will walk up to me and say, "Hey, you work with so and so." They see the same business card. When you go into other real estate agent or real estate companies, brokerages, you got to come up with your own business card. You use the logo and everything, but you put any color that you want and anything. You wouldn't know those people were together. So it makes the company like, oh yeah, okay, you work with this. So we don't want that disconnection. We want you to be a part of the conglomerate, part of the group. That is power. When you see that type of unity, it's power. When you see an army, you know it's an army. And we want you guys to make sure that your branding is sending a powerful message that you're part of Porterhouse International Realty Group. This is our brand. This is who we are. We get quality work, because that's what people look for when they see Porterhouse. They know that we're going to take care of our clients, period. So whatever you're branding, you got to send that same message. It has to have that same feel to it over and over again. And that's what we want to make sure that you capture, pull in, and make sure you use it to your benefit.
All right, guys.
Quick question.
Sure.
If you were to have a sold property, could you use those pictures and whatnot for a different area, or would you want to try to keep it consistent with the area that you're going to send your mailers out? So if I sold a house, in a different part of town, could I use that same, just sold for, a different area?
So you can use it for a different area. It's going to be much more impactful in the same area, however, because you and I both know when you own a home, you want to know what your neighbor's home is selling for, because it's going to directly impact your property value. So for the sake of brand recognition, it'll help me to know who you are. But for the sake of adding value to what my needs are, it won't have that same ring to it.
Right, Kurt. And it's funny. So what Jasmine is speaking to is relevance. So the relevance of that picture to my community, because you send me a picture of a $1 million home, Curtis, that you done sold over in so-and-so, and I'm looking at my house, and I thought my house was nice until I saw your pictures. Man, I'm feeling bad. But if your house looks like all the other houses in my community, I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could sell my house for that much. Wow, let me get this guy a call. So it's also, you gotta know people. So people want to see what's relevant to them. If you're trying to get people to dream big, let them know I can get you to this house. It takes one step at a time. Let's get your first one, and then we'll get you there. You can use it like that. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it depends on how your marketing has to be targeted. And we can talk more about marketing at a different time, guys. But this is very important conversation. But that kind of targeted marketing is very important. But you got to determine how you're going to use it.
That was a really good point to make. I'll piggyback on that. Then we're going to let you guys go. It's a couple minutes after 1:30, and we want to honor your time. Curtis, if your marketing is thinking of scaling up, you can afford this for that price range, then you can market a higher end home to a community that would be the community they'd be scaling up from. I'm trying not to say a lower end community, but you can market, scaling up to people. So if you have somebody in a certain price range, you show them a bigger house, that's a dream, because most people at some point or another, they're going to scale up or they're going to downsize. So you just got to know your demographic, know your audience that you're targeting. Are you looking at those people now? Potentially they're empty nesters and they need to scale down, or are you looking at those people that they've raised their family to a certain level, that their family has grown and now they need to upgrade, they need to buy a new home? So as long as it's targeted and it's relevant to your audience, you can use it, but you got to make sure that you pay attention to how you're using it, and it's just not haphazardly done in that sense.
And on that same note, Jasmine, just connecting everything that you just said with Remind, you can look at what a person is actually paid for their house back in the day and when the interest rates were higher. And you can say, Curtis, with interest rates so low, you could be living in this house for what you're paying at your house. Call me, let's sell your house so I can get you into this house. You can use it, Curtis, but you got to think about how you're going to be
strategy.
What you're using it for. There you go.
Yeah. I've had so many just not random, but all over. And so I really want to farm like my direct area where I live. And so I was just like, well, how can I repurpose the pig, cut the pig up as many ways as I can. But it totally makes sense. I'll use it for something else.
Let's have some more conversations.
Let's talk about it. That's right.
There you go.
Let's call us and let's.
You guys are the best. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much for carving out the time to get this information today. Next week, you guys are going to have Steve Hoover with Bright MLS. He's going to be training our office on the new Bright platform. Those changes went into effect on the 2nd. So there are quite a number of different features and benefits of the Bright MLS platform. So next Thursday, same time, our new agents will be on tonight at 7 o'clock for our new agent training. Everybody else, have a phenomenal rest of the day. If you need anything, give us a call.
Everybody,
all right, guys?
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome to new agent training.
Everybody's welcome to that new agent training. We're going through some extremely valuable information there. And some of it may be training that you didn't get a chance to do, or you could really use a refresher on. So join us tonight at 7. All right, guys?
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day.
I'll be there.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Great day.
Goodbye.
Prosper.